Hi guys, so I saw this cute little green bag on Pinterest from Liming Shop, so this is what we're going to make today. This is the yarn I'm using. It's 8-ply and 100% acrylic. And I actually thrifted this yarn, so you probably can't find this exact brand anymore. So we're going to make a slip knot, so just like this, and then pull it tight, like so. Now you're just going to slide this onto your hook, and we're going to do a chain. So chain is a yarn over and then pull the loop through. You're going to do this however many times you would like, but this would determine the width of the bag. So I've got a ring light, that's why there's like the white ring here. So basically however many you chain is this width here. Here is my completed chain. It was 32 centimeters long, and now we're going to start double crocheting into our first row. So you're going to yarn over and then insert your hook into the third stitch. So that would be the first one, the second one, and you're going to insert your hook into the third one. And then you're going to pull up a loop and yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and that would be a double crochet. So for the bottom, for the first 2 rows of our bag, I'm going to do a double crochet in every single chain, and then for the third row onwards, I'm only going to do a double crochet in every second chain. So I'm just going to yarn over and then insert my hook into the next chain straight away. And you're going to continue on with this step until you reach the end of your chain. And this is what it should look like so far. I've just completed my first row of double crochets, and to move on to the next row, you're going to do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to turn your work over and then start crocheting from this side all the way across. And this is how you're going to go into a new row each time. But it also depends on what type of stitching that you're going to do. So for double crochets, they're quite tall, so the 3 chain is to make up for the height of them when you're turning your your crocheting directions. Say if you were doing a half double crochet, you'd be only doing 2 chains, and if you were doing single crochets, you'd probably only do 1. So on the way back, it's just the same thing. You're going to yarn over and then skip the first loop here, because the chain of 3 is your first double crochet but in a form of a chain, and you're going to crochet from the second stitch here. So you're just going to insert your hook into the loop. You should have 2 things on your hook, and then going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, we're going to double crochet into each stitch in the second row, just like the first row, so it's just the same thing. Guys, so I know I did say I'm only gonna do 2 rows of like close together double crochets, but I'm actually gonna do 3 rows of double crochets where I just like crochet into every single stitch, because I just counted the photo again and they did 3 rows, so that's what I'm gonna do. But it's like the same thing. You just gotta repeat it for 1 more row, and then I'll show you guys the other stitch that we're gonna be doing in this bag. So we've just done the bottom bit there, and then we're going to move on to the stitches like that, where you skip a stitch in between your double crochets. To do that, you've got your turning stitch, the chain of 3, and then you're actually going to chain 1 more. And now you're just going to yarn over and do a double crochet, not in the first stitch, but in this stitch here. And after you've done that, you can see this big gap, which is what we want. You're going to do another chain, and you're going to skip the next stitch here, but move on to this one after. I'll zoom in so you guys can see a bit better, hopefully. Yeah, so not this stitch, but the one after, just here. And just do a normal double crochet into it, and this is what it should look like. Now do another chain and skip a stitch and double crochet into the next stitch. And chain again, so you're just going to repeat this pattern, a double crochet, a chain, and then skip a stitch and double crochet again. So yeah, you'll be doing this pattern until you think your bag is tall enough for your liking. So just repeat this when you get to the end, same thing, a turning stitch of chain of 3 and then an extra chain, and then skipping a stitch and double crochet, and then skip a stitch, double crochet. And yeah, you got this. Guys, this is just a little progress update. I've done my first row of the new stitching crocheting pattern, and I kind of like messed it up in there. I did like 2 double crochets next to each other, but I don't think it really matters. I can't be bothered going back and fixing it now, so I'm just gonna turn onto my next row now. For this row, you're going to do obviously an extra chain, and then you're going to double crochet into your first stitch. Hold on, let me just show you guys. Yep, so you're going to double crochet into this big, just the chain, just like in here, like so, and then you're going to do a chain 1 and then double crochet in like the big space here. So it's like you're not skipping chains anymore, you're just doing a chain in between stitches, but you're crocheting into every single square, I guess. And yeah, this is what it should look like. And by the way, this is the exact same stitch we did in our both of mine, like Scarlett and Sam crochet tops. One of them's the actual top and the other one's like the bolero. It's like the same stitch for the sleeves in this tutorial, so if you know how to do that one, then you can just go ahead and do it. It's the same thing. And if you haven't seen those videos, I could probably like pop them up in the corner for like in like the suggested videos bit, but I could also link them down below if you want to go watch them. Just gonna give you guys a quick little progress update before I go to bed. I'm gonna finish this side off tomorrow. I've finished crocheting my bag, well at least one side of it, so in total I did 3 rows of really close together double crochets into every stitch, and then I did 12 rows of double crochets skipping a stitch. So now to finish it off, you're just going to, I've actually already done a chain, so I'm just gonna, yep, so this is what you should have when you finish off your last row. So you're just going to do a chain of 1, and then I like to chain another one just to make sure. And now you can just cut off your yarn and pull the tail of the yarn through, and then tighten the knot, and that is one side of your bag done. So now you're gonna go ahead and repeat the exact same steps to make another side of this bag. Once you have done 2 rectangular pieces of crochet for each side of your bag, we are going to connect the edges together. With more green yarn, I made a slip knot, and then so to connect them, I started off from one of the corners of my bag, and I'm just going to insert my hook through both of them, then slide my slip knot onto my hook and pull it through. And now I'm going to just do a chain, so yarn over and then pull the loop through, and then next I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch. So here, as you can see, it's like going down by rows. So I'm just going to insert my hook into the next row, which is, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and pull the loop through. Then same thing again. I'm going to yarn over and pull the loop through, and then insert into the next row, pull up a loop, and then pull it through 2 loops, and chain 1 again, and you're going to do this all the way around your bag until you reach the other end. And this is what it looks like so far on the other side. I find that it's actually easier if you hold it vertically like this and just insert your hook into each row and then repeating this step. Voila! For the edge up here, it is just the same thing, except now you're connecting, you're like crocheting in each double crochet, if that makes sense. So you're going to insert your hook into the next loop on both sides, and then you're going to pull up a loop and then pull the loop through, and then you're going to chain 1. And you want the lines of double crochets to match up on each side if possible. So that means from the first double crochet on this side here, you're going to insert your hook into the first double crochet on the other side. This way you're going to get a nice and even edge when you crochet all the way to the end, and you won't end up with, you know, a few double crochets not connected and stuff like that. Once you've finished binding the 2 sides of your bag together, it should look somewhat like this. And now I'm just going to do one more chain like so, then cut my yarn and pull the tail through, and then tighten the knot. And once you flip it inside out, it should look like a little bag. So now we just have to do the straps to finish it off. For the straps, I just did a slip knot with my yarn again, and then for one of the binding seams, I inserted my hook into the stitch just on the right of the binding seam, and then I slid on my slip knot, and then I just like pulled it through like that. Then I did a chain, and then I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch that is on the left of the binding seam. Then I'm actually going to also tuck the ends of my yarn behind, then pulling up a loop and then pulling one loop through like so. And now I'm just going to do a chain. This is going to be the strap, but I'm going to go back and make it thicker in like later on. So you can make this however long or short you would like it, depending on like where you want your bag to sit and the purpose that you have for this bag. Like you can make it little crossbody, so you make the strap super long, or you can make it like a shoulder baguette bag, which is what I'm gonna do. So just do a chain, and then as you go, sort of like measure against your body to see where how long you like it, and then stop when you're satisfied with the length. Once you've completed a chain to your desired length for the strap of the bag, I'm going to connect it to the other end of my bag. So I've sort of just like flipped it over so that the seam on the other side is facing you guys, and then I don't remember how I did this, but I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch on the right hand side of the seam, and then I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to insert my hook into the left side of the seam, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and then pull the loop through, and then I'm also going to chain one like so, and that should be all connected. And now I'm going to turn my work sort of like sideways, and then with the strap I'm actually going to single crochet into each chain. So to do this, I'm just going to insert my hook into the first stitch on my chain, which is just here, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and then yarn over and pull the 2 loops through. Same thing in the next stitch, so insert your hook to the stitch and then pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And now we're going to repeat this until you reach the other end of your strap. This is what my strap looks like after one row of single crochets, and I just did a single crochet in like the first stitch on the bag, and now I'm gonna tie it off because I'm happy with the thickness of my strap. If you want to like make it thicker, you could always chain 2 and then crochet all the way back to the other side of the strap. So now to tie it off, I'm just gonna chain 1 and then chain another one, so chain 2 in total, and then gonna cut my yarn, pull the tail of the yarn through, and then tighten my knot, and there we go. There is your cute little crochet bag. So as you can see here, we've got some loose threads hanging around, so I just like to tie them into knots together and then cut them. Just like that. I usually do 2 because I find that one's not really enough to keep them together. And then on this side, I think I've done some knots already, so I'm just gonna, actually I guess it's better safe than sorry, so I'm just gonna do a few more, because it's just like really embarrassing if you're wearing this out and then your strap decides to untie for whatever reason. Yeah, so now just gonna cut them very short. You could also like fabric glue the ends bit there to make it more secure, but I probably won't do that just because I think this should be fine. And there's our little bag. So this is how the bag turned out. Super cute and dainty, perfect for a little brunch.